Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Examining Medicine from traditional to alternative and beyond. And today I'm excited to talk about our guest today because we have not really had this topic on this show yet, Miss Debora Wayne. She is CEO and founder of the International Chronic Pain Institute, and she is world-renowned energy healer to people with not only chronic pain, but anxiety, depression, trauma, battles, even weight loss. She is a best-selling author of Why Do I Still Hurt? And she has a renowned program called HighSpeed Healing that I am excited to talk to her about using non-drug therapy. So this is what this podcast is about, showing other ways of healing besides some of the traditional medicine ways. So I'm excited to talk to her and learn myself about these different ways of healing all of these conditions that we just spoke about. So welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. I am so very honored and thrilled to be here and share and open up the conversation out of the box. So thank you so much for having
Yes.
me.
Yes, and that is the whole purpose of this show and podcast is to open up conversations and to talk about things that people typically may or may not know about it and shed some light. So tell me kind of your beginning. So what decided or what triggered you to kind of start all of this?
So I'll take you back to the pivotal moment. It's over 30 years ago now, but it was a regular Monday morning where I would just normally get up, get dressed, and go to work. But that morning, I found myself lying on the floor of my beautiful closet surrounded by clothes and shoes, and I couldn't stop crying, and I couldn't get dressed. And I was in pain from head to toe, and my pain made no sense. And it had been going on
Okay.
for a long time, and I had gone to conventional medical world for advice, and they said, Deborah, there's nothing showing up on a medical test. You're just stressed out. You need a vacation. Then I started going down the natural medical trail, and I was taking like buckets of supplements, and nothing was changing. And this had gone on for years. And I wasn't imagining it. I became highly like I was living on painkillers and coffee to stay awake during the day. And my hair was falling out and I had ulcers. And I mean, this stuff I
Oh,
wasn't making
wow.
it up, but nobody knew what to do
Yeah.
about it. And that day, I just was out of ideas and out of willpower to fake it one more day, like everything was fine. And
Yeah.
so I screamed out to a God that I didn't believe in God at that time of my life. I just thought, but I screamed out, like, if there's anything out there, please help me. Well, I'm here to
Yeah.
tell you, I had a really profound spiritual experience. And within seconds, the closet was filled with a presence of love like I had never, ever felt before, and a
Yeah.
peace that filled my being. And I knew that everything was going to be okay, that I needed to get up. I stopped crying. Like I felt peaceful all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yes.
Stop
Yes.
crying. I went in the other room. I picked up the phone and I called somebody and I said, I really need help and I need to tell you the truth about what's really going on. And I started this new way of looking at my life, my health, my head, my heart. And I
Yeah.
unpacked everything that was going on in my life in a different way. And I started unlearning and relearning
Yep.
a lot of ways of living and thinking and being. And, um, it's a long story because it's been many years now, but the short version is this. I had to find damaging thoughts and damaging emotions that I didn't even know I had and that were
Yep.
affecting my physical health, and that the choices I was making, the way I was living, was ruining my health, and I wasn't
Yep.
listening to it, and I didn't know any better. And I thought I was following the formula to equal happiness, but it was killing me. So I had to unlearn, relearn, and this became the foundation for all the work that I do today. Now, yeah, I went back to school. I started stacking on degrees and
Mhm.
certificates and all this stuff. But the truth is, the key
Yep.
tools that became the foundation of my program began from my own healing journey, from things like meditation and other skills that I developed along the way by getting very deeply by a deep listening to my own inner guidance. And I've been able to help
Yeah.
literally hundreds of thousands of people around the world. I birthed this method, this high-speed healing, which we'll talk about. And everything changed. It wasn't something like on my goal list that I wanted to be when I grew up. It just evolved out of my own healing journey.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that's a great story and thank you for sharing that. And I'm smiling not to discount, but because I know where you came from. And
yeah.
there has been times and it wasn't with pain, but other situations where I felt that same presence and
Yeah.
same thing. I was like, stop playing. Get up. Get off the floor. Like stop. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I have
Right.
something better for you out there. So
Mhm.
I'm smiling because I don't talk to too many people who've had that because I don't like often share that moment, but that I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I'm
Life
saying?
changing.
And
Just
different people, it is, and different
totally life
people have
changing.
that moment in different situations, right? Yours was pain. Other people, it may be substance abuse. Other people, depression. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? There's just so many
Yes.
times where people kind of have that moment, and then
Yes.
for you to kind of unveil this new program and impact so many others. I mean, that's the goal, right? That's the purpose for
Yeah.
us all. So, one
Yeah.
of the things that I want to ask you is how did you realize? Because I preach this to the masses, whoever will listen, that the emotions and the thoughts that we're putting in can manifest physically. It can manifest physical
Yes.
pain. It can
Yes.
manifest weight, diabetes, like all
Yes.
of these problems, right?
Yes.
And this is what
Yes.
we're not taught in med school, right? Like we don't teach, we're not here, we don't learn to treat emotions and
Right.
thoughts, which
Right.
is for me a downfall of traditional medicine. I can say that
Yeah.
because I've been trained in it, I was bred in it. We're
Yeah.
only taught to recognize the issue and then offer these solutions that really are not real solutions to healing. They're just like patches, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To kind of get
Totally.
you through the day. Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
solutions that are offered are looking at the symptom and putting what I call a band-aid on the symptom, but doesn't get to the root cause. And this is the misunderstanding and what is so exciting
mm,
about what was revealed to me. So how I came about this information is that I began meditation practice every day religiously, and it was literally shown to me. Now, you have to understand, I come from a medical family also, but I didn't like
yeah,
science. So I never studied. I was not in that area. I was not interested. I would hear my father and his all his friends were doctors. I would hear them talking about medicine, and I would think there's something wrong with this. Like I had a sense something was wrong at a very young age.
wow,
Well, when I began meditating, it was literally revealed to me that everything is energy, that the physical body, I could see and feel that the walls, the floors, the body is made of energy, light, and information that's vibrational, that it's not physical. It's just a slow vibration that actually appears dense and thick like physical because of the rate of vibration. And this was literally, I had no reason to know this. It was revealed as I was
yeah,
meditating.
wow,
And I started to see how the subtle level of energy was becoming the physical. It was the precursor to the physical, and that we were missing the most important view, which is to look at the subtle energy first. And I became aware that every thought we think is a force as real as electricity, and it is the fuel to,
yep,
if especially if it's repeated, and the thoughts are creating an emotional reaction, and the emotions are like putting gas in the tank. And when you take repeated thoughts and repeated emotions, they create a habit pattern which affect our choices, and our choices show up in our life, and including in our spine, in our body, in all of it's affecting the nervous system, the immune system, the organs. We're literally forming from the thoughts and the emotions. And I became so aware of this. And then I started seeing it in all the people around me. And I also started to feel this life force energy flowing through my hands. And I became aware that it could be used to change the vibration, first for myself, and then it was going to be used to heal other people. And don't get me wrong, I at first thought, oh my God, like if I tell people this, they're going to think I went cuckoo. So I kept it inside for a long time. I could hear my father going, show me the data. And there was no
Yeah,
data.
exactly.
There
Yes,
is now.
exactly.
There was no double-blind peer-reviewed study, okay? So I kept just working on myself and a few select people for quite a while until I realized, wow, this is very real. And it would be selfish of me not to share it. And
Yep.
the real turning point came in 2001. I became a yoga teacher. And that's when it hit me. Wow, there's ancient 5,000-year-old information that talks
Yep.
about the subtle energy bodies. This is not brand new, it's actually ancient. And now there is
Mhm.
new science that's explaining what the ancient wisdom has known for centuries, and the two worlds are coming together. That's why this is the most exciting time on planet Earth, because we've entered the age of energy, where it's not just old, it's not just spiritual, it's actually real science. And there's a whole body of
Yeah.
work that's known as biofield science or information medicine and energy medicine. This is just the most exciting stuff going on planet Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think having come through the pandemic,
Yes,
now people are wanting more and
yes,
hopefully they're demanding more. Like even
yes,
at the patient side, like they're over, okay, the pills, the supplement, like stuff that's not working. And they're like, and hopefully in their head through this podcast, through you, through other organizations, they're like, no, I've heard about this. There's got to be something more. And so I agree. I agree with everything that you said. My next question to you is you found this out through meditation.
yes.
How do you help other people notice this or see this? Like, how do
Yeah,
you get them there?
great question. So over time, I became very, very sensitive to what I was actually experiencing. And I kept thinking, how could I explain this in a way or teach someone to become sensitive like myself? And so I became very aware of ways that I could convey the experience first so that people could have an actual experience that was palpable for them, and it wouldn't just be me trying to convince someone of something. And that's
Yeah,
how it began, because you could talk till you're blue in the face, but until people have a
correct.
real experience and then they go, oh my God, okay, how did that happen? They become more open to the fact that there's other information that they just haven't learned to pay attention to. And I
Yeah,
tried to
exactly.
step down very in bite-sized nuggets, how I could teach people to become more sensitive. And that's what I've been able to do. And I've been able to help them really learn to separate their own thoughts and beliefs and how to find the emotions that they don't even know they have stuffed away in the
Yeah,
body, and to release that. And then once you release enough of your pain, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, even financial, people carry around so much pain, and a lot of it from
yeah,
childhood. And once I help them release that, they become aware that there's a lot of information just lingering all the time. But here's the trick. Most people look outside themselves for the information. They look
correct. That's true.
to a book, to a guru, to a teacher, to a course.
You're a
And
doctor.
nothing wrong with all of that. But I teach people how to
Yeah,
go internal, get quiet, and listen in a way they've never learned to listen before. And when you do that, game over. They realize there is
yeah,
a lot of guidance, information, everything we need. There's an inner technology, I call it, like a GPS inside every single living person. And I teach them how to find that, turn it on, and listen to it, and slowly trust it. And there you have it. That's how it works.
wow. When you explain it, it seems so, oh, yeah. But we all know, like, it takes some time, right? Because you're right. Meditation has been around for a while,
Yeah,
yoga has been around for a while. And even people who meditate on a regular basis,
yeah,
I don't. most of them are better, right? They're more internal, they have more introspection, but I
Yes.
don't know if they're able to completely heal some stuff the way you're
It's very
describing.
slow.
So
No, you're right. It usually takes about 30, 40 years for somebody. Like I had a yoga teacher once who said he was severely clinically depressed. And after 20 years of yoga, he started to feel better. And I thought, God, I don't have 20 years to wait. And so
yeah,
like in one regard, I was given a gift from the universe, because I know that the method that I birthed, it speeds up the healing process. So it's even people who haven't meditated, usually within less than 2 minutes, they drop into that theta brainwave state, which kicks in the parasympathetic nervous system. The self-healing mechanism turns on, and they start to heal. And they also have awarenesses.
right,
And this would take, decades if they were just meditating. So what I offer goes beyond meditation. I was fortunate enough by some kind of grace to receive it in meditation, but I
yeah.
don't think the average person gets it just meditating. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I think this is a good segue to discuss your method, the high speed healing. Is that kind of so what you kind of briefly discussed? So give us kind of an overview of
Yeah.
what that is in your program
Okay,
that you
so I
coined.
work with either individuals or groups of unlimited size. And this is what's so fascinating is that I'm able to, it's not a technique. I'm able to access a state of
Okay.
consciousness that's a very high vibration where I know that I'm connected now 24/7 to when you look out at space, it looks like there's all this empty space, but it's actually filled with vibrational information, and it's
Hmm.
streaming into our cosmos very
Yeah.
high, what I would call healing frequencies. These are everywhere present, but nobody realizes this because we're not taught this. Well, I became aware of
Yes.
it, and I actually cleared out enough of my personality to get it out of the way to bring in and connect to these vibrational frequencies. So, without getting into a course in physics, this is all based on principles of physics and how we're all interconnected. And
Yep.
through resonance, I'm able to just flow out of my hands these healing frequencies, and it instantly connects to the person or the group that I'm working with. And this is virtually, not just in person, but virtually or over Zoom
Oh,
or
that was my next question.
yes,
Wow. You
over
can
the
do this
phone.
virtually.
Yeah, I do. I've
Wow.
only worked virtually for the past 6 years, unless I'm at a live event. I long before the COVID hit, I started working virtually because I saw that it was a way to reach more people. And I'm able
Yes.
to scan the field. Well, let me back up a second. So, around every living thing, including your body, there's a field of energy, light, and information. Now, this field has become known as the biofield, not because I made it up. It was actually the NIH, the National Institute of Health, looked at this energy field in 1992, and they coined the term biofield because they said this is real. And
Yeah.
I'm so sensitive, I can literally scan this field and I can feel immediately where there are disturbances in the energy field, in the biofield. And then I stream in,
Yeah.
this is real live streaming here. I stream in these healing
Yeah.
frequencies. These are coherent waveforms, just like think of it like music, and how when you turn on some
Yeah.
music, it makes you feel so good. You turn on other music and you just want to run for the hills because it makes you tense and tight, and you can't stand to listen to it. These are
Yeah.
waves of information, vibrational information, whether it's music or I'm bringing in sound waves, but people can't hear them. Now I can actually hear the tones that I bring in, and I communicate via the field that we're all interconnected because there's one gigantic field that we're all interconnected into that field, and
Yeah.
instantaneous transformation of energy because this thought and energy field, it works faster than the speed of light. And see, this is just something we don't understand yet in biology, but
Yeah.
it's
Correct.
actually, physics. And I'm able
Yeah.
to scan, find where the disturbances are, bring in a harmonious vibration that smooths out their energy field. And that field is talking to the body and to every cell of your body and being. And some people instantly will shift. I mean, this is what's so incredible. I've watched tumors instantly gone, cysts, seizures.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
I've had people with epileptic seizures for years, stops it in its tracks, never to return. I've had people with spinal curvatures and discs and bulging and, all the things you commonly hear about with chronic pain completely
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
I have seen people with
Wow.
fibromyalgia, arthritis, that were just like limited to the couch because they were in so much pain. They had to stop working, stop traveling, stop playing with their kids.
Right.
I've watched all of this disappear, and people go back to movement with ease and feeling
Yeah.
like the relief they never thought would be possible, and getting off their meds. And oh, I could go on and on with
Right.
the stories, but this is all because of the communication via the field through the
Okay.
energy exchange.
Yeah, okay, and that's what I was going to ask you. So, the person on the recipient side, for
Yes.
example, do they even know what the disturbance is? Like you said, you can identify it.
Yeah.
Do they know, or is it revealed to them
Good
during this
question.
exchange? Or
Good question. Okay, so sometimes, yes, they, without talking, they become very
yes,
aware, for example, of a trauma from childhood, or a memory that they weren't aware of how devastatingly it impacted them. Or
okay,
sometimes they just release. In fact, if I can see them, I watch the body. Sometimes they flip and flop like a fish as the patterns come off, the
wow,
disturbances shake out of the body. People move their body. Some people don't move an eyelash, and they lie there and they look like as peaceful as day. Some people even say they feel like they fell asleep, and they literally,
yeah,
without thinking, talking, or remembering a thing, they just come out a different person. Most people need a series of sessions, but not like once a week for the rest of your life. Maybe, within a month. Usually within a week, they notice changes. Within a month, it could be a complete transformation. But
wow,
it's not the same. Everyone's case is different. And a lot of
yeah,
people do become very aware of what's coming up. Some people have a big emotional release and they laugh or they
yeah,
cry. And other people just go, like, I'll never forget one time a woman who had a brain tumor, of all things, and it had been pressing on her optic nerve. And she lost vision in one eye, and they
mm,
took away her driver's license. And,
yep,
this impacts your whole life, right? And she did not
yep,
want surgery. So she came to me. This is many years ago when I had an office. She came to me. I worked on her. And in the second session, when she came out of the session and opened her eyes, she looked at me and she goes, "Oh my God, I know what I need to do now." Now, granted, we had not been talking. And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
been letting my roommate abuse me, and it's affected, and I've been pretending not to see it. She said, "I can no longer hide this from myself. I'm going home. I'm kicking him out. I don't deserve to be abused. I'm not going to go through this anymore."
yeah,
And do you know that within 3 sessions and 1 month's time, this woman, her vision came back, got her license back, got retested.
wow,
No more brain tumor, no surgery. The only thing she did was work with me, become aware, take certain actions,
wow,
and voila, healing.
wow.
That's dramatic,
That is amazing.
isn't it? Because think about what
Yeah,
would normally
yes,
happen. Her life would have been over. She would have had surgery. It wouldn't have worked. She would have been on drugs. I mean, God, the
exactly.
impact, right?
Yep, exactly. No, I agree. So then people who have this kind of aha moment and their health is transformed,
Yeah.
life is transformed. How do they maintain that? Do they kind of after these sessions, like her or any of your patients, do they kind of get it now because they're kind of at a different state, like mental state, and they have a little bit more clarity, so they just continue to see that? Are they more sensitive? Like, how do people maintain and
This is
not
such a
kind of
great
relapse?
question. Thank you for asking this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
here's what happened. In the early years of my career doing this, I found most people would get healing that they would, after about 4 sessions, sometimes longer, but on average 4 sessions, they would be good to go. But there was a
Yeah.
percentage, maybe around 10%. And it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year, it could be several years later. I would get a phone call and they'd say, Debora, the pain is back, the symptom's back. Why is it back? So I had to figure this out. So I would bring them in or I'd have a conversation. And in every single case, I discovered it was either a false belief that they were thinking about that was scaring them, or they had
Yeah.
emotional pain that they were not releasing. So this is why I actually just developed my pain-free living program, because I knew that in order for them to heal, they were going to have to learn how to find and remove these destructive ideas they were carrying, and they were going to have to
Yes.
find and release the emotions, or they were going to be contributing to the pain pattern and not know that they were even contributing to the very thing they were trying to get rid of.
Correct.
So I started to teach people
Correct.
these other tools for self-care and to maintain what we had
Yes.
established. And that's what made all the difference in the world. So now I really try to get everyone to understand, look, I'm not your magic wand. I mean, to some degree I am, but I want you to
Yeah.
be a master of your health. And that requires you to learn some skills so you don't need me the
Yeah.
rest of your life. You know, and you become very aware of what you're doing that's either creating health or moving in the direction of pain and problems that you don't want. And that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's great. And it's almost like the patient or client, well, their patients essentially, are able to almost take back control, you
That's
know?
exactly
And
it.
so for me, I've noticed that's like key because there's so many times where control is just, and I've had patients like where I've noticed in bariatrics and weight loss where someone else like triggered them. They have like these triggers
Yes.
and what I call
Yes.
triggers. Someone else triggered them and then
Mhm.
they went and did like what I call self-destructive or
Yes.
self-sabotaging behavior.
Right.
And then we kind of moved backwards. And my question to them, why did you let them take your control? Like, why did you give them control? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, and believe it or not, you're right. They didn't, most people don't know that. And
They
as an
don't know.
MD,
They don't know.
I just saw it from my perspective,
Right.
but I didn't even have the training or know about on how to
Right.
kind of shift control the way you're
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
because we didn't learn it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Ex-
I had enough insight from my own meditation, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying, stuff that I do that I was like, man, I'm seeing this and seeing what's going on with my patients. Like it's just this,
Exactly.
it's like they're being pulled externally, exactly what you're talking about.
And
And I'm
it's
like, it needs to come internal.
It's
Yeah.
it does, and it's very common because, and this again
Yeah.
goes back to, if you don't really get to the root of the
Yeah.
dis-ease and pull the roots up, then it's easy to get triggered along the way. Because look,
Yeah.
life happens. A lot of experiences happen that you can't control. You know, you may have
Mm-hmm.
something frightening happen, and then the nervous system goes into that red alert, and it starts to
Yep.
remember you're in danger. I'm going to keep you aware and looking for danger. And then they never relax and they go back into that
Yeah.
sympathetic nervous system state. And then it disrupts everything in their health. And if they stay there long enough, the pain shows up, the hormones get disrupted, the
Yep.
weight comes on, they don't sleep, they
Yep.
don't digest, right? So we have to unpack all
Yep.
of this by really helping them understand this, have self-care techniques that they can use if they notice they're in that fight or flight or freeze mode and they're not in the
Yep.
relaxation response. And then people can not be afraid to live life, because you can't
Yeah.
control everything that happens to you. You just can't.
Yes.
And if you're afraid of life, you'll pull back and isolate and really live a very limited life. And that's not what we're here for. So we need to help
Yeah.
people not be afraid if something does happen. It doesn't mean we have to cower and run away from life.
Yeah. Correct. You just learn how to deal with it. You just have to learn how
Exactly.
to deal with it and kind of move on, you know? And
Exactly.
so I want to discuss briefly your book. Um,
Yeah.
why do I still hurt? Is these techniques and everything that we've been talking about in that? Can you summarize briefly like what this is about?
The book, yes, it's more like a workbook, and it will help start to ask very deep questions to help you see a whole new way of looking at your symptoms, your pain, your patterns of disease, your mysterious chronic conditions. It's going to start
Yes.
to put the person who's reading this and doing the exercises and answering the questions, it will literally start your healing journey, and it will bring things out of your unconscious mind and just help you see a
Mm-hmm.
whole different way of how health and healing even works. So it doesn't teach all of the steps, but it really will
Yeah.
start the whole process. And people email me all the time and they go, "Oh my God, I never thought of it this way before. Now I see, now I understand. Oh my God, I'm feeling better just reading the book." So yeah, it's more
Yeah.
of a practical, hands-on experiential book than just a bunch of theories.
Okay. No, no, this has been great. This has been so helpful. And I want to tell our audience where they can find you. And like you said, you're doing everything virtual now. So
Yes,
just so people have options when stuff has failed, it's okay to go to providers, nutritionists,
yes,
whoever is your kind of go-to initially for this stuff. But when you want other options, other answers, I mean, I think it's great to explore different methods. And it sounds like you've been very successful at the way that you've been treating so many different, what I call chronic
right.
conditions. You know what I'm saying? And so, where can they find you and your information?
If you go to www.internationalcpi.com, you will find me. You'll see the services that are offered. You can send in questions. We will, either I or my team, we get back to everyone. And I'm giving away a free copy of the book. So if you would like a free digital download of this book,
Wow.
you'll get that right on the website. And if you want the kind that you can dog ear and underline, you've got to go to Amazon. But
Yeah.
happy to give you a
Yeah.
free copy. I want everyone to know about this and to take
Yeah.
action. And I love what you said. If I could add one more thing,
Yeah. Go ahead.
many people come to me because they do believe in good nutrition, and they they believe in exercise and living a healthy lifestyle, but they're still not fully healing. And what I've discovered is the high speed healing will also, it helps people absorb nutrients better. Sometimes the supplements or the foods
Oh,
they're eating
wow.
actually work better after they have the energy healing. Or people who
Wow.
find, I don't really want to eat that healthy food, and I don't really want to go to yoga. I don't want to go to the gym. After I work with them a few times, they say, "Deborah, you won't believe this, but without any willpower, I actually wanted to exercise. I started eating different and it was really good, and I lost weight without trying." So it's not like,
Wow.
it's not like you have to only do this, but this will help you in your every area of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And without the fight, without the forcing and the pushing and making yourself go to the gym when you don't really want to.
Yeah.
And it just gives
Well,
us all a
because
greater
you're
freedom.
diagnosing it. Yeah, because you're diagnosing, treating it at the root. I mean, that's why it's
Exactly.
so effortlessly, because you're once you fix the root problem, everything else falls
Exactly.
in line. So
Exactly. I'm
no, I think
so
it's
grateful
great.
that you understand this. And I so appreciate you
Yes.
helping get the word out, because you're right. So many people don't
Yep.
know this is even available to them. And
Yeah.
it's really,
Yeah.
really just so exciting and even a relaxing way to heal. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It beats bariatric surgery. I tell you that, which is what I was doing. Anyways, well, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you
my
so
pleasure.
much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, everyone. And thanks so much for having me.